Hello and welcome back. So in this beginner level series, we will talk about time-based scenario questions. So we'll cover how to work with timestamp and dates in KQL because you are going to work with majority as a telemetry time series data in KQL. So you need to be much aware that how we can utilize these functionalities. So there are some functions like ago, now, date and time, which you can start with the basic of how we can apply that, and then we'll cover some advanced one in later videos. So KQL is well equipped with handle the date and time data types. The typical data types for this KQL is date time. You can work with specific dates, perform operations on them, and filter data based on date time fields. There are certain key points. The date time format is year, month, day, and hours, minutes, and seconds. So you can filter the dates by using the where clause, and then for example if you have a start time and end time, the columns, you can use a where clause like how we used in our previous videos. But here as an example, we need to use the start time is greater than or equal to and the date here. So usually we used to pass the single quotes in SQL, but here we need to specify as a date time, and then within the bracket without any quotes, single quotes or double quote, we need to pass the date here. So let's have a look into KQL how it actually looks like. So in this KQL, I'd like to run here storm events, and then we need to use here where start time, which is the start time of the event here. It has to be greater than, that's what we are seeing on this PPT here. It has to be date time, and then we need to mention the dates here. So for example, if I like to start from January 2007, that's the data which we have. To avoid the delay, so I'm using here take top 10 here. Take 10 values from here. So this just going to give me the result showing up from this 2007 January onwards. Even though it has picked up some other dates, that's not an issue. But if I specify here to be from December 1st onwards, then this will be give me only data which is available from December onwards. So that's how the simple thing here. Now if you want to go further in down, you can specify more complex conditions, like if you want to specify between the dates, like I just want to have the dates between this June, and then if I space here, then this gives me the list of available options where I can use from here. But for now I'm just going to use and here, and start time, that's the name of the column, we need to call it again. Here it has to be less than or equal to date time. This can be 2007 and June 30. I'd like to give that, but here greater than or equal to. So I just want to have the transaction which has happened during the month of June 2007. So if I now delete this take 10 and then click on run, this just gives me the list of available event which has happened during this period. Yeah, it has written 8500 record with 7 seconds, and now this has all the transactions happened during this month. This is how we can able to use that. Now moving on to the further one where we can use other functions. So here we can use ago, now, and date time function. So what are the use of these functions? So basically now returns the current timestamp, right? So what is the current time right now? So at the moment I am just recording this video. This is on October 30, 3:20 p.m. So that's why it is showing up here. Use now to retrieve the data that aligns with the current timestamp. So this retrieves telemetry data from the last 24 hours. So for example, if you want to get the data of the storm events which has happened between now and then minus 1 day between the current, which is 30th October to minus 1 day means 29th of October to till date. So what has happened during that period, then you can obviously use that. So as an example, start time, where you can use here instead of greater than or equal to, here instead of this I can remove here. Now I can use now minus 1D. So 1D is nothing but 1 day here. You can also specify 1H which is hours, 1M which is for the minute here. So that is the shortcut of that. So if I run this one, it's not going to give me any result. The reason is because I have only data for 2007. So that's the reason it is not showing up any result here. But generally this is how it can work. Now ago actually allows you to filter the data for a relative date time period. Example, 1 day ago and 1 week ago. So whatever the data which we have, you need to specify that. So what is the ago here? So as an example, we can use this here start time ago 7 days. This retrieves all the storm events from the last 7 days. So that's why it will give here. Instead of this, we can just use ago, and then we can just specify that within this bracket 7D here. So for the now, actually we need to specify outside of that. Now is alone is separate function, but for the ago we need to specify how many days. You can specify 1 day, 1 week, 1 week example, and then you can specify that 7 day is equal to 1 week here. If I run this one again, this is not going to give me any result because I don't have any data for this. Now the next one which we have here, date time, a function to specify exact dates in queries. So usage, use the date time to specify the date time values, which we have seen in our previous video. So where we have specified that it has to be greater than or equal to, less than or equal to kind of thing. But if you just want to take the data of any one single day, so you can just specify double equal to and then date time, specify the dates here. So as an example, I'd like to pass here June 18, 2007. I'm not sure whether the data is available on that day. Yeah, it is there. So it has 3 records, 3 events that happened during that day on these particular states here. That's cool. So if you want to now combine these two things, like if you want to specify the storm events where the start time is ago 1 hour and the start time is less than or equal to now. So it means it actually gives the result here that has happened within the last 1 hour period here. So that's what the result it will give you while you run this one. So this is all about you can use ago, now and date time function. Now, simple time series data querying and filtering. So when dealing with the time series data that has a time component such as logs or telemetry, you often need to aggregate and group data based on time intervals. This is really an important thing. So we have a bin function in KQL. So groups data into specific time intervals, useful for creating time-based scenarios here. So as an example, if you are from a Power BI background, then you might be aware of we have the data groups option in Power BI, and we can create bins based on our information. We can create list of bins. We can create bins by defining some specific number. So similar to that, what we have it here. So storm event summarize count by bins, start time is 1 hour. What actually this return? This query counts the number of storm events that occurred in each hourly interval here. So this is really cool if you want to monitor what is happening in the past 24 hours and you want to monitor every hour what has happened during that time. So if I run this same query here, storm events, this has to be summarized, and then count of this by what? By bin, this has to be start time, comma 1 hour. So count of bin by 1 hour. So if I execute this one, this is going to calculate that for every hour. As you can see, it is showing up from 1st of January 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. If I scroll down, after 11 p.m. it's now going into 2nd of January. So for every hour what has happened here, you can analyze that here. That's really cool. So you can analyze whether it's happening during the morning time, it's in the evening time. You can also specify based on this event which is happened. So this is really helpful if you are working on a real-time basis, right? How you can analyze these things. You can also use bins with different time intervals like minutes, hours and days. Instead of that, we can also mention H, we can use M, D kind of thing. So it's going to convert that here. As an example, if I just want to specify this query here, which is storm events, pipe summarize average damage property, we can specify here AVG and then damage property, that's the name of the column, damage property, okay, damage property by, it is actually giving me the intelligence here, so I can use by, and then here you can just use bin and then start time, which can be 10 minutes. So if I run this one for every 10 minutes, this will give me the calculation of what has happened on the average damage property here. So now you can see 220, 330, 340 because the data is not available. So that's the reason there is a gap here. If the data is available, it's showing as the result here 330, 340 here. So 940, 950, everything. So data is not there, so it's not showing up here. But if the data is available, then this will give us the result here. This calculates the average temperature, sorry, average damage property in 10 minutes interval. So as an example, reduce storm event that occurred in every 15 minutes in the last 2 days. Now we are combining these two things, which is the last 2 days. Usually what should she do? Usually what we should do. So I think we need to use ago, right? So that's what we have seen in the previous one. So let's have a look into this one. Yeah, that's great. So where start time is greater than or equal to ago 2 days, which is the last 2 days, summarize count by bin start time less than or equal to, 15 minutes. So this is going to give us a result about what has happened in the storm in every 15 minutes interval in the recent 2-day period.